You're listening to The Bug.
Nibbling away on the rotting carcass of a once free Britain. Hello, Resistors. This is The Bug, and on today's show, Alice and I will...
You're listening to The Bug.
Nibbling away on the rotting carcass of a once free Britain. Hello, Resistors. This is The Bug, and on today's show, Alice and I will be looking at the big questions, such as, are we less than 2 years away from being able to turn a sausage back into a live pig? Did we actually need polar bears anyway? What do they really do?
Security here is state-of-the-art, quite impenetrable. Unless, of course, you flew a drone through the window one of Mary's mouth breathers left open.
The recording device is in her security room.
Getting there should be a simple matter of navigating the vents.
What the fuck?
She's using these people as house servants, against their will.
Horrible in itself, but a million times worse knowing they end up as unwilling organ donors.
Please, I need help.
Fucking idiot. Do you piss everyone off the way you're pissing me off, wanker? Stupid git.
That's it. Let's see what kind of recording we've got on her. Just look at this place. This is what comes of old crooked money. The Kelly family has been profiting from people's misery for a long time. She's got this shit all over the manor.
So you've been in there before? Is that how you ended up in the basement of the Southwark incinerator?
We needed something incriminating, so we decided someone had to get in here and plant a bug. I wasn't going to assign someone else to do that. You saw how Mary uses the people she grabs out of the EPC, and the staff's uniform's not hard to mimic, so I went in. What I didn't know was that she had intel on our investigation, my team. I thought going off book would stop the leaks, but she still knew we were coming. She tortured me for the names of my team, tried to break me, but cops don't give up cops. Turned out she already knew the whole unit and put hits out on them. The woman is a mind fucker.
Could be worse. You could have one of those little bomb chips in you. I would make them kill me first. And I think you would too.
That's how I ended up on that butcher's table. So many reasons to want to rid the world of her, but it wouldn't be enough to just put one in her brain. My mates died trying to bring her to justice. I have to honor that.
What you've done to yourself after everything I've done for you.
You made me a slave. All of us. Please, let me go. Take this thing out.
Back to your old life. Back to nothing. Back to you 2.5 screaming blighters in your dead-end job and sucking off the dole. You don't want that, love. This microchip is scary, I know, but I got to keep tracks on my merchandise, don't I? And this kitchen knife, that won't do it, love. Cutting yourself affects my bottom line.
I can't live like this anymore.
No. You're all right there. It's all right, sweetheart, because I have another use for you. Ooh, paying attention, are we? Good. Be sure and spread the word. You know where this one goes. Get these two and all the others over to the venue and ready for the sale.
Right away, ma'am. Also, the foreign investors have already landed and the drones are programmed, ready to deliver the invitations and the coordinates to all the guests.
Is that initiative I'm smelling, Peter? Initiative can be a dangerous thing. can be misinterpreted.
Fuck's sake.
This is insane. How did Mary get her hands on this kind of tech? It takes a sick mind to come up with killer microchips.
Perhaps a disease mind, but definitely an ingenious one. Perfect psych profile for a group like Zero Day, wouldn't you say?
Her affiliations aren't my priority, Bagley. She's keeping these people enslaved. And it sounds as if she's selling them. This is huge.
That's what microchip is for. If they step out of line, she zaps them and sells their organs. Oof, evil woman.
DedSec, we'll have to crash that slave auction. Get all the information we can out of there. The location will be on the invitations. She hasn't sent out the invitation yet, but when she does...
Bagley, monitor the drone networks. Give us a heads up when Mary sends out her fleet. Until then, I reckon we're in a holding pattern.
I'll get in touch if I hear about anything else that might interest you. Cheers, DedSec.
That's part of her techno-utopian idea for the world. Why do you think it grew so quickly?
In my mind, it's no surprise that Bagley became so popular. It's funny, useful, fast. It's a great companion and really just makes life so...
Since we're waiting for our cordial invitation to Mary Kelly's tasteless theme party, we can finally get back to what really matters, solving the mystery of Zero Day. Who are they, and why did they frame DedSec for the bombings?
Bagley, what do we have?
Glad you asked. Today, the great AI detective has 2 leads for his dog's body politic. Obviously, Albion needs looking into, but I also have a more unusual thread for you to pull on. There's a new hacktivist group on the dark web scene called the 404. But instead of being in it for the lulz, this lot seems to be in it for the brutal reshaping of society by any means necessary. Sound like anyone you know?
Then I have choices.
I've marked both on your optic.
Great. Bloom has data on everybody. They collect information about everything you're doing across the web through your optic.
I found a potential recruit for you. Drop in a pin on your map.
Well, I suppose so, but I prefer not to talk about that side of things. Bagley is so special because it's been trained on this huge cache of information. That's how these AI systems work, or at least used to work. I mean, we don't really know that much about the latest version because there's so much secrecy around the tech. But they're given this huge amount of training data. It's basically a huge database that's used to teach the AI about patterns in behavior. You know, so if you always travel the same way to your house, it can predict when you're going to go and get a self-driving car ready for you before you even ask for it.
That's pretty terrifying. In some ways, I don't want this data to drive my life. It understands too much at times. Have you heard some of the rumours around the hacked version of Bagley?
I've heard mutterings, yeah. Yes.
I've heard it's been used by DedSec.
I wouldn't put it past them. It's pretty well known that they're not fans of Bloom. But the idea of a souped-up version of Bagley, given it's already so intelligent, is a bit terrifying.
I wonder what they could actually make it do.
Nothing, eh?
Units, I say.
London, this is 404, the first peer-to-peer hacktivist network. All are welcome. If you want to make a difference, join us. We're taking down the elite, one contract at a time.
Found that on the dark web. Looks like all the cool kids are forming hacker groups these days. But this 404 might actually come in handy in our fight. If all are welcome, that means we are too. I say we infiltrate 404, we get their connections, we get their assets.
If you play nice, they might even help you take out Zero Day. For that matter, maybe they are Zero Day. Only one way to find out. I found Street View images of a CTOS hub that's been covered in 404 graffiti. They're marking their territory like an overexcited chihuahua. Dropping the location of the hub on your map.
Do you have any idea why Bagley really keeps all the competition?
I'm leaving, whatever is going on.
They collect information about everything you're doing across the web through your optic headset. Isn't the AI still because of Bloom surveillance?
about patterns in behaviour. You know, so if you always travel the same way to your house, it can predict when you're going to go and get a self-driving car ready for you before you even ask for it.
That's pretty terrifying. In some ways, I don't want this data to drive my life. It's understanding too much at times. Have you heard some of the rumours around the hacked version of Bagley?
I've heard lots of these, yeah.
I've heard it's in the news by Ghostface.
I wouldn't say it's Christian. It's pretty well known that there are not fans of Julian. But the idea of a souped-up version of Bagley, given it being really so intelligent, is a bit terrifying.
I wonder what it actually makes it do.
This is London Film. You're listening to Button, your pirate podcast source for the state of station. I'm Pat, and this time we're going to take us out from us to the boys and girls as a signal and intelligence center. Better known, why not? They don't be listening to me. They're listening to everything. But don't worry, we're not going to say anything bad about a massive, unaccountable fire of information.
Force against humans is permitted.
Shut down. Instead, we're going to look at how birds are stay on. And if you do, we keep everyone knows the location. So birds are going to listen.
This is London Calling. You're listening to Buccaneer, your pirate podcast source.
Bagley, tell me about this man.
Looks like he's a marked man. Clan Kelly put a bounty on his head.
Why?
He's an underground bare-knuckle boxer, and he's more dangerous and bloodthirsty than a mosquito with malaria. He managed to take down a mob-backed favourite in his last match. Now they're sending out an enforcer to make sure he never wins again.
Boxing is dangerous enough without people coming to murder you. Bagley, get me the enforcer's location.
Already done.
Instead, we're going to look at how SIRS became so powerful. And as usual, we'll keep everyone's names and locations secret. So SIRS
Auto drive now enabled.
For them. Ian was a veteran political writer and podcaster back in the days of pre-crisis Britain.
Auto drive now disabled.
Is the world we're living in now fascist? Well, this is what fascism is. It is the complete and total control
Auto drive now
of the
enabled.
individual. The desire to basically say to the individual, nothing in your life matters. On an individual basis, you are now part of the whole, part of the nation. And the only meaning that you will find in your life is to become part of the nation. What is a nation? A nation doesn't mean anything, right? The nation is basically just encapsulated by the leader that takes over, that claims that he, has this sort of access to the soul of the country, to the soul of the people. He never does, it's just a myth, but that's what they go for. And on that basis, they take the right to control every aspect of your life, from who you talk to where you eat, to where you go to hang out with your friends. And what we're seeing now is a contemporary iteration of this process where you get corporations and the state operating in tandem, basically molded into one another. But that isn't that rare. I mean, it's exactly the same thing in Nazi Germany. You look at the concentration camps that operated in Nazi Germany, there were private companies in those camps making use of that slave labor. Fascism often works with corporations, and it's doing the same now. That's the way in which they track what you do. That's the way in which they track who you talk to. They operate as each other's proxies.
Charles is an expert in the dark arts of surveillance who worked to set up democratic media in post-communist states. How did it go so wrong in Britain?
We're looking at all the wrong things when we look at Britain's crisis. There's a lot of concentration on data and how that's been used and manipulated. And what we haven't looked at is the power structures and the profit that lies behind this. For example, if we examine what actually happened, there's a company that's really very interested in selling passports and making it easy to provide visas for investment and so on. And historically, throughout the world, they've been working with this big data manipulation company in order to overthrow governments. And then suddenly all the chickens came home to roost. Nobody could find any receipts for what was paid for. Nobody could figure out how things were done, but everybody had a feeling that something really stunk, and they couldn't figure it out. And yet, it was standing there in their face the whole time. There's a couple of different ways that we got where it is that we are. And one,
Auto drive now disabled.
Smaller organizations, smaller power groups, companies as well, who are bending things just a little. We'll compromise a little bit. We'll bend the rules a little bit, and try to achieve what it is that we hope to achieve that's good for us. And if you add all of that up, what you end up with is a big wall moving in a big way from a lot of little buttons being pushed. But also there's this other thing that's going on here, is the gathering of data and the analysis of data.
The enforcer we're after is here, currently assaulting some other poor cunt that pissed off the Kellys. If you take them out, our boxer friend may live to fight another day.
Possible suspect or suspects reporting near your location.
Responding to the call. Over.
Why are you doing this? Civilian is armed. Approach with caution. I need cover! We are unsighted of suspects. Over. We are in pursuit. I say again, in pursuit. Immobilizing the suspect.
Control, I'm ready to immobilize the target.
Driving into the vehicle, over. Terminating pursuit and coming back.
They operate as proxies.
Charles is an expert in the dark arts of surveillance who worked to set up democratic media in post-communist states. How did it go so wrong in Britain?
You know, we're looking at all the wrong things when we look at Britain's crisis. There's a lot of concentration of data, how that's been used and manipulated, and what we haven't looked at is the power structures and the profit that lies behind this. For example, if we examine what actually happened, you know, there's a company that's really very interested in selling passports and making it easy to provide visas for investment and so on. And historically, throughout the world, they've been working with this big data manipulation company in order to overthrow governments. And then suddenly all the chickens came home to roost. Nobody could find any receipts for what was paid for. Nobody could figure out how things were done, but everybody had a feeling that something really stunk, and they couldn't figure it out. And yet, it was standing there in their face the whole time.
Danger. Vehicle in critical condition. Please exit immediately.
We have a lot of smaller organizations, smaller power groups, companies as well, who are bending things just a little. We'll compromise a little bit, we'll bend the rules a little bit, and try to achieve what it is that we hope to achieve that's good for us. And if you add all of that up, what you end up with is a big wall moving in a big way from a lot of little buttons being pushed. But also there's
danger. Vehicle in critical condition. Please exit immediately.
Of data and the analysis of data has authoritarianism contained within its DNA.
Suspect reported in your area, potentially armed and hostile.
Danger. Vehicle in critical condition. Please exit immediately.
Cover me. I need to reload.
Time to pick up where your teammate left off. I'm sure they'll thank you once they stop eating through a tube.
Fuck! Alright, we better be finding whoever's responsible.